Despite being not a very new game, we still have people asking us daily about making Counter-Strike videos. Since the game is still so popular, we figured it'd be a good idea to make a video for prospective newcomers. CSGO is an overwhelming game, and you're gonna need to know a lot going into it. So here's how to not die in CSGO. Still, let's be honest, chances are you're always gonna die. It's Counter-Strike. But maybe now you'll die a little less and you'll know what you're doing. Anyways, let's get started with number 10. Shooters, and single-player shooters especially, train us to reload instinctively after getting a kill or even just firing a shot. It's like a Twitch Pavlovian response. Well, for Counter-Strike, forget everything you know and learn to resist that urge as soon as you jump into a game. Most weapons in CSGO take between 2 and 4 seconds to reload, which in a game as fast as CS is a long time. More than enough to lose ground, get shot, or have someone slip past you. And an even bigger deal, when you're close to enemies, the sound of reloading can actually give away your position. So I guess think of reloading as a trade-off, really. Would you rather have a full load and an enemy know where you are, or a few crucial bullets left, but you still have the drop on an enemy? Do not underestimate how much you can do with 4 or 5 bullets. You know, with a rifle, it takes 3 or 4 non-headshots to take an enemy from full health to none. But chances are, closer to an end of a match, not many folks are gonna have full health anyway. So definitely always think before you reload. But at number 9, it is very important to learn a map's callouts. Callouts are the terms used to reference places on a map in a game. It's imperative to know the callouts on a map so you can quickly tell your team where enemy players are or where you need to go to help out someone else. Now, I'll be honest, learning how to intricately work with a team and really be connected with them is a bit over beginner territory, but knowing maps and knowing the very basic minimum of communication is key right out of the gate day one. Unless you're a complete mastermind, if you're not talking, then you're not winning. And at number 8, let's acknowledge that in CSGO, there's more to aiming than just, well, aiming. A big part of aiming in CS is just knowing. As in knowing your place in the map and the dynamics between both sides. Choke points are essential not just to have an upper hand in map control as CTs, but to have a good idea of where your enemy will be and where your shot should be. In many instances, this is called pre-aiming, and the idea is less is more. If you get a good angle on a corner or a choke point angle, if you aim where you know an enemy will be and keep your sight aimed at where their head will be or head level, the better your chances are. The less you have to use your mouse to aim, the quicker your reaction time will be and the easier a shot will be to pull off. And if you're a terrorist and you don't always have the advantage of knowing and holding angles or bomb sites, know enough of the map from the CT's perspective. Know the potential spots that they will be holding and looking for you instead of running around and guessing. Really embracing that playstyle and more importantly that knowledge is eventually how you can even just master straight up pre-firing. And at number 7, a good way to not die is to always have someone watching your back. This means working with and as a team. You know, for Counter-Strike, to not lose your damn mind as a new player, which you very well could, either find someone to play with who's more experienced, who can pull you through the ropes, or roll with some beginner friends to all learn together at once. I've mentioned it here, but CS is a mental game as much as it's a skill-based game, and having that good communication with a group lets you really take advantage of stuff like callouts that I previously mentioned, as well as having other eyes and ears out there for you. Nothing in this game is getting worse than shot or stabbed in the back. You've probably already learned that. With a game like this, you want to keep consistently improving and learning from your mistakes, and having friends or good players by your side is always going to help that. But at number 6, speaking of awareness and prediction, learn peeking. There's no actual peeking mechanic in the game like a lean mechanic. Instead, it's really just quickly inching back and forth to half see past a wall and what's around a corner. It's often referred to as jiggle peeking. It's a good way to see what's going on and much harder to get shot at, and it's a good way to exchange fire in a firefight, with making it much harder to hit. But keep in mind, you're not invincible. You don't become the most difficult to get hit, because someone with real good skill can still get that timing right and fire right when you are peeking and kill you. So use peeking to your advantage, but be careful because it's not perfect. And at number 5, beginners need to know that while Counter-Strike seems like a very fast-paced, just rampant killing game, you need to plan every single encounter and decide when to go for it. Don't always engage in a quote-unquote fair fight or an even fight. Always choose to engage in fights when you have the clear advantage, you know, the drop on someone from a corner view or any better positioning as we previously mentioned. Avoid fights in which you don't have the advantage. This will help your stats a bit. Think hard but quickly about when to engage, especially coupled with where you are in the game's geometry and where your crosshair is aimed and where the other player is looking. I know that sounds like a lot to keep in your head while you're playing from moment to moment, but it's how other players are thinking and it's how you should too if you're a beginner. But at number 4, in case you didn't know, people can hear your footsteps in this game when you run. This might sound simple to some, but again, this is a beginner video. Hold shift to move slower and no more footstep sounds, voila. This is the biggest issue with noise, but keep in mind other things make noise like aiming with a scope, switching fire modes, and jumping, arming bombs. These are the ones that really get people found and killed most frequently. It's an easy mistake to make for new players. But at number 3, let's briefly discuss tap shooting. Tap shooting is all about accuracy, and more importantly, knowing the exact situation of when and how to fire. Spraying is fine and works great in many situations, but it's all about range sometimes. Tap shooting in short and quick succession will make you more accurate at long ranges. It's usually a more effective way of popping someone across the map. Chances are, if you're a beginner, it's probably happened to you before. Adding crouching and possibly strafing to this mix obviously makes you less of a target, too. So learn the difference between tap shooting and knowing and embracing the spray pattern. And at number 2, this one's gonna sound stupid and maybe obvious to some people, but don't get frustrated. It's that simple. Look, it's also not easy, and this goes for obviously most competitive video games, but with something like CS that requires so much instinct, quick thinking, and skill, you can't get heated, especially if you're playing an important rank match. But if you get frustrated from getting beat down in a game, maybe you're just getting slaughtered, go back and watch your record and your replay if you recorded, and look at your stats, and you will see the mental drop-off of where you actually check out. So next time this is happening and it seems like you're just facing impossible odds, take a deep breath and don't let the game or dominating opponents really affect your consistency, even if it's you consistently sucking. But at number 1, something important for beginners is to embrace community training. With the Steam Workshop and Steam Community, you can actually download maps designed to improve your aiming, like aim_bots or training_aim_CSGO2. There's even stuff to get better with using certain guns like aim-AK-47, for example. Or you can check out maps that are designed to improve your recoil control, like recoil_master, or pre-fire maps to better learn crosshair and control, and peeking like we talked about earlier. There's even maps designed to practice close quarters and using smokes properly and more stuff like that. So if you do ever find yourself overwhelmed and it does seem like the CSGO community is very tight and hard to get into, they actually do provide a lot of tools out there to get better. It's good to communicate with people, find a community, but also use map tools like these to really run around and practice in and get your feel and get your flow and get things good. Not enough people jumping into Counter-Strike for the first time know about stuff like this, but it is out there and you should use it. But those are some tips for beginners and people who just don't want to die as much in CSGO. We know a lot of hardcore people have probably come across this video, so we definitely want to hear from you guys down in the comments. Leave some other tips, because we couldn't fit them all here. Leave some other tips for people. If you've been playing for a long time too, we'd love to hear your perspective for newcomers that are coming around to watch this video. Let us know anything you want about CSGO. Let's talk about it down in the comments. But you guys know the deal. If you learned a thing or two, clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. But if you are new, subscribing is a good idea because we put out stuff like this all the time. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.